Humans. We are believed to be the smartest creatures on earth. We have our own special ways of communicating and acting around others. In fact, every single day, we talk, act, and behave so that our words and actions meet the primitive expectation of society. I like to think of my entire body as a coffee machine. My heart, multicolored coffee beans before they ground. My mind, the filter, and my words and actions as the coffee. And what happens to coffee beans? Before you put them into the machine, all of them are multicolored and special in their own ways. But after they ground up and blended together, the uniqueness within each other is obscured. Once they have traveled through the filter, all people can see is just the plain coffee that they wanted. Nobody will ever see the rainbow colored beans and the darkish brown liquid, just like nobody can see your initial thoughts and decisions that are at conflict with your words and actions. All that people can see and taste is the generic finished product. Maybe you're afraid that if you do not filter your original ideas and intentions, others will reject or dislike you. Perhaps they will see your ideas and decisions as too strong or too bitter, so you instinctively feel the need to change or to filter your coffee beans. People would be surprised if they saw my original coffee beans. They would be shocked when they found out the real person I am. When I was in 4th grade, I transferred to a new school. It was my 5th week there when I saw a kid being bullied on the playground. I was playing on the swings when I heard screeching and screaming noises from other far end. I asked the girl beside me what it was all about. She was like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's just the 6th graders teaching the new kid in our grade a lesson," she said. It as if everything was so natural or normal. She then smirked when whispered in my ear, "Don't tell anyone that I told you this, but he has the plague." I was confused, so I asked her what kind of plague he had, and she told me it's the nano plague. So she then explained that it was a virulent disease caused by nanoworms that bit into your face, causing a permanent red mark. And if others touch the victim or touch something that he'd touched before 3 seconds had passed, they would infected as well. Frankly, I was dying to see what that kid looked like. Then I got the other side. I was astounded. I had never seen the students circled around and cheering about something. I squeezed my way into the center of the circle, but the plague was nowhere to be found. All I saw were backs of 2 or 3 tall guys dressed in our school uniform. They all seemed to be pointing and talking to someone or something on the floor. Even though I didn't think quiet get what they were saying, and I couldn't quite see who or what they were talking to. My assumption was the plague. And then I saw that most of the older spectators were laughing, so I laughed with them, as if the things the tall guys were saying were amusing in some way. After a while, I actually started to enjoy myself. Gradually, the guys at the back started moving aside. My heart beat rapidly as I stretched out my neck for a better view of the inner circle. I was actually expecting to see a monster-looking plague, or perhaps a clone of Frankenstein or something. But to my surprise, it was just a normal boy. He might not have been the most stylish person I've seen. He might have had glasses that were way too big for his face. He also might have a birthmark that covered up little less than one third of her space, but to me, he was just a normal human being who deserved to be treated like one. The smirk gradually vanished from my face. It was when that I realized that this was not a game. This was not something funny. This was bullying. For a moment, there were just a way too many thoughts and ideas going through my mind, and I was just overwhelmed. I remember thinking and asking myself questions like, should I go in and help him? Should I at least stop it and tell an adult? But instead of following my heart and doing what was right, I froze. I froze there like a statue, too shocked to even blink. The shouting noises seemed to have faded into the ground, and I seemed to have faded in my own world. I regretted that I'd ever laughed at him, the feeling of complete melancholy, the feeling of downright regret and hatred, the feelings of resentment made an alliance and loom over me. I felt like I was gagging on salty waters, but too afraid and too bashful to use my arms and legs to swim to the surface. He must have noticed me, for he looked up at me with all the strength he had left. He was bruised all over his face for about 10 seconds. He looked at me. I looked at him, then mouthed the words, "Help, please." Instead of standing up for him, I backed down. I walked backward further and further back until I stumbled and fell out of the circle of spectators. I looked in his directions until the gap in the crowd started to fill in. Then I walked away, fighting back tears. I wanted to march up and tell the aggressors and the spectators that what they done was inhuman. I wanted to tell everybody that they did not have the right to pick on a boy, one third of their size. They did not have the right to tell a boy that he wasn't beautiful just because of a subtle birthmark on his face. I wanted to tell them that they were the definition of ignorance and failure. I wanted to tell them that what they were doing was wrong. But instead, I walked away and let the victim down. 3 years have passed since the incident, and a lot has changed and happened, but strangely, the scene is as clear and conscious in my mind as it was then. The regret and the pain sting just as much as it did then. The incident has become a scar that has formed on my heart and never seemed to heal. It likes a curse that can never be broken. He has forgotten. I'll bet he has forgotten and hated me for what I have done, and I have hated myself for not speaking up. But I know that it's too late, and I have already lost a chance to be brave and to be myself. So with the opportunity, I wanted to show and tell everybody that sometimes the things you see about me are only the things I reveal. The things you think you know about me are only the things I let you know about. There is much more of me that I haven't revealed, of which you have absolutely no idea. Perhaps the reason the people are afraid to reveal their true identities is that they might think their thoughts are too bitter, unlikable, unique and different. I am a great example of that. I could have followed my heart and stood up for the boy, but instead I went with the flow and didn't help a person in need. So, I hope the people will learn from my experience and stop filtering their own unique coffee beans. Just go with the flow. Please always be the person that you really are. I want to tell everyone that it's okay to go upstream. You don't always have to end up in the same position as others, and that's what makes this world colorful. Thank you.